Welcome to another BCSN conversation. We're continuing our preseason basketball uh, interviews, and joining us today from Miami Gardens, Florida, the sometimes forgotten HBCU in the state of Florida, the Florida Memorial Lions men's head basketball coach, Ansar Al-Ameen.
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Al-Ameen,
Yes,
how you
sir.
doing today?
Man.
How's the family? How's the weather? Because we know you guys at the time that we're recording this, we had some tropical storms go through the state. Didn't really touch you guys side of the state,
Yes, sir.
but even still, tropical storm in Florida is a tropical storm in Florida. And how are things going on campus?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. My family's good. My wife is a month out from having my first child and her first child, so we're excited.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, sir. I need that. Now I need some help babysitting.
Now, what you need are Pampers is what you need.
I need Pampers, a babysitter, and someone to wake up with the baby in the middle of the night. If I could get an assist in those three areas, we ready. We go.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: when you come off those road trips, Coach, she's gonna catch her rest and go leave it all to you. I just want to let you know. So the wings, you better enjoy your rest in the hotel.
Hey, I'm gonna sleep on the bus. I'm gonna sleep on the bus on the way home because I'm not gonna get no rest when I get in the house.
There you go, Coach. All right. Like I say, once again, we appreciate you joining us here today. Second season at Florida Memorial. Third season, excuse me. Third season at Florida Memorial. Got to update my notes there, but that's all right. So we all know that, due to COVID and everything else, this has been a heck of an off season.
Yes.
Just talk about the off season in general, because you didn't get an opportunity to do your normal summer training, all season training, and then in turn you don't have the opportunity to do the workouts like you've traditionally done to prepare for the fall, and just kind of talk about all that in general, how it's affected your team chemistry, timing, different things that you expect to have at this point in time in the season.
Well, I think everything that you said has been affected. Not being able to, the NAIA rules are during the summer, you can touch your kids, you could work out, you could practice, you could do whatever you want. This summer with COVID going on, no one was able to do anything. And, selfishly, I was definitely upset and disappointed by not being able to do these things. But when I look across the country, and it's not just me, it's everyone is dealing with the same thing, it makes you feel a little better. And we've been in the season, we've been able to start practicing for 2 months, I think, maybe just a little over 2 months. And in those 2 months, we may have gotten 3 weeks to maybe almost a month worth of actual being able to practice because of everything going on with COVID, contact tracing, and us just trying to stay safe. I think our university, I would like to say, I can't say we're number one in the country in dealing with COVID and how we and our protocols and everything that we have in place when dealing with it, but we have a lot of protocols in place to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe, and the well-being of the student athlete is first and foremost above everything, even to the chagrin sometimes of a coach. hey, he's been sitting out for 2 weeks, he can come back to practice. No, we have a return to play protocol after you've tested positive for COVID. So the things that we're doing and we have in place is definitely making sure that the athletes are safe. You know what I mean? I think our AT staff have been far and above, everybody else and just staying on top of what's going on. They're reading every night about COVID to make sure, okay, well, what are the effects on the heart when they come back? What are the effects on the lungs? Like our training staff has been amazing. And obviously that directive is coming from the athletic department and the president who sits up top the university. So I'm proud to be here to be able to say what we're doing and trying to keep the student athletes safe as possible.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you put it that way, and you're the first person that I've talked to that's kind of put it that way about the return to play portion. Almost kind of takes me back to the concussion debate when the concussion stuff came up a few years ago, and the change in protocol with the return to play. How does it affect? Because I know you and I are pretty much in the same age category. Back in the day, you give a smell of salt. As I got up, all right, go ahead, let them go ahead and play. You can't do that anymore. Same thing with this COVID thing. We got to make sure that the heart is right, that the lungs are right, And then once we get done to that, you got to get your conditioning back because you haven't been able to run, jump, lift, pick up a ball, do anything for however long you were quarantined.
Definitely. And we've just finished, we played a game yesterday and we played a game with no practice, you know what I mean? Because we were coming back from everything was coming back. Then we had the storm hit, you know what I mean? So we didn't get a chance to do anything. So all of those things came into play. And as a coach, you want to practice, you want to, but this year, beyond probably any year, 2020 is the year of just taking a step back and caring about safety first. You know what I mean? Wins and losses are going to come. Your conditioning is going to come. But what you do not want is for something to go wrong with a young man or young lady on that court, on that playing surface, field, or whatever it is. So this year is only about the safety of the student athletes. So whatever they want to do, I'm all in on it.
Look, having lived in the state of Florida, you at some point in time you're gonna have to deal with storms and have to have that evacuation plan and everything else. You prepare for that, knowing that you live in the state of Florida. This is something that no matter how much you prepare for, you just can't get it right. It seems like when it comes to this COVID thing. So, last question I'm gonna have on COVID. We know Florida Memorial made some headlines during the fall season. They were the only HBCU attempted to play football. Some of those headlines were not positive, and we're not going to harp on all the negativity that was associated with you guys' decision. But I do have one question that I have to get out is, what lessons were learned from the incidents and the things that happened in the fall that you think you guys will be able to apply to basketball and the winter athletics for this season?
I would say that the things that we've learned and we're still learning, everything that took place during that time, I learned directly from, because I got an opportunity to watch the fall sports, not be able to practice here, not be able to do this because of everything that's going on. And it helped us to prepare. It's like, okay, we're not able to do this. So what can we do? And, like you said, we're not going to harp on it, but the thing that was, I think, a little disappointing about everything that took place then was the misrepresentation that went with the university and how we weren't caring about the young men and women, how we were not doing everything humanly possible to keep them safe. And, I've been in this business for 20 plus years, and I have friends who work at Division I's and coach here, or coach, the only people who I would say what our university is doing rivals is that of the NBA is the only one that was better. When I speak to my friends who coach at Division Ones, they said, how many times have you tested? I think this was like a few months into the year. I was like, man, we've already tested 7 times. And they're like, well, we've only tested twice. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the university and it started with the leadership of the university had been doing so many things to try to keep these young men and women safe. And for those messages and those thoughts to come out about our university was extremely disappointing, knowing that the only thing that people care about here is the student. You know, like, hey, coach, I don't care about you practicing. I care about, you know what I mean? Our training staff, I want to start by saying I love our training staff, okay? But our training staff is almost like the NBA draft, right? The NBA draft, when it comes to that time, the NBA is looking for a reason not to take you. You know, in college, everybody's looking for a reason to take you. You know what I mean? But at that level, the stakes are so high, they're looking for a reason not to take you. And I think our training staff, with everything that they want, no one wants to have anything crazy that happens on their watch. So our training staff is looking for a reason not to have you out on the football field, basketball field, whatever court, whatever it is, right? And they're trying to make sure that the standards of this university are upheld to the highest standard, even to the point as a coach. I don't care if you need to practice. You know, if you're gonna let him play, you're gonna let him play. If you're not, you're not. But no one is going out there until they've finished all these protocols. And I know we were done with that, but I really wanted to say that because the leadership here has been done above and beyond, you know, what was mandated, you know, throughout the conference. We get tested every single Monday. You know, every single Monday we get tested, and per NAIA rules, you only really had to get tested one time.
And that's preseason.
But we were going about, and that's preseason. But every single week we play, we're going to get tested. Why? Because we want to make sure that we're safe, A, and we want to make sure that we don't get anyone else sick.
All right. And unfortunately, we can sit here and talk about this COVID thing all day, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some basketball. And
yes, sir.
Look at that at your coach. Had an average season last year. You know, nothing eye-popping and spectacular, but it wasn't a one-win season either. But got a lot. You lost 9 kids off of last year's team. Before we get into this year's team, talk about some of those key players from last year that you lost.
Well, last year we lost, I think the kids that we lost, the things that they brought to the table from a physical standpoint was amazing. Our leading scorer, I think he was our leading scorer, our player of the year, our MVP, Jordan Martin, he was a senior out of Atlanta. You know, he was a guy who could give you 37 on any given night. You know, the problem was he may give you 4 on another night. So we worked on the consistency. You know what I mean? One of the issues that I had with him, and this is not a secret, he knows this, I wanted him, my biggest thing with every young man that comes into this university is when you leave here, I want you to be a better man. There's nothing more important than that to us. Before our games, I wish I had the book. We read a book in the locker room before games, because what we're trying to do is help you become a better husband, father, and provider for your family. That's what it's about. And I believe if we can teach you how to win in life, basketball will become easy. You know, and Jordan Martin was a young man. I saw tremendous change in him over the course of that time. We had another young man, Caleb Derrick. He came on halfway through the season last year, and he had moments when he was spectacular. He was a guy who played with the NBA guys during the summer at the pro-am out here and looked amazing, you know. And what I tried to get him to understand was playing against pros in the summertime is different than playing an NAIA season. You know what I mean? Because you look, oh, I'm playing with the pros. I'm doing great. I should be able to demolish NAI. Well, in the summer league, it's individual defense. They're just having fun. But when you play in the NAI season, it's team defenses. And they're loading up to stop you. So you have to be able to make the next pass or, you know what I mean, do something to make someone else better to, in turn, help you become the player that you want to be. Another guy that we left, he was a freshman, Freddie Reeves Jr. You know, he left because he wanted to go to Division One, and he's at a Division II school somewhere. But you know, he was a guy who you could count on to make shots. You know, when you needed a shot made, he was a guy who you could for sure count on. You know, from last year. You know, and then in the middle we had a big kid. Kyle Young, who was easily the best shot blocker, you know, in our conference and probably a top 10 shot blocker in the country. You know what I mean? And we lost him. So we lost a lot of really good pieces that were able to help anchor our defense and anchor the program that we were trying to build. And they definitely took the program from one spot and they helped push us forward to the next level.
All right. Now, let's get into some of the familiar faces, because obviously with 9 players from the Ashes squad not here, you got a lot of newcomers. So we want to get into some of the familiar faces first.
Okay.
Mr. Ali.
Mubashar
Ali.
Mubashar Ali.
Mubashar Ali. Now, I spent my fair share of time around college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when you have a 7-footer
mm-hmm.
and that's not playing Division One, they usually not playing Division One for 2 reasons: either they don't have the skill or they don't have the grades.
Mm-hmm.
This does not seem like the case for this young man right here. He's a walking double every time he gets on the court. He's very skilled. He's not a 7-foot stiff.
No.
As I've seen like that. Just talk about Mr. Ali and what can we expect from him this year?
Well, Mubashar, like as you said, is a walking double, right? Yesterday he had 11 and 8. He only played like 23 minutes, and that's because, as we talked about before with COVID, I'm trying to ease him back in to being 100% where he's supposed to be. But this is a young man who has NBA aspirations. Like, it's teams that are looking at him, actively looking at him because of the things that they saw him do last year, and they're expecting him to take another step forward. And he is in throughout the preseason, every day in practice, he's been that young man taking his next step forward. His ability to pass, every day in practice, he's working on it, finding the open man, and he's doing things to make everyone better. And that's what we're working on. We're working on his leadership and being able to, he's 7 feet tall. So he's already the biggest thing on campus. He's the biggest thing around. So everyone wants to talk to him. And what I'm trying to get him to do is to learn, embrace the good that comes with 7 feet, but also embrace the responsibility that goes along with being, having a bullseye on your back per se, because everyone thinks that you're going to be the player of the year in the conference. So you got to go out and you got to say, okay, what do I got to do? They're loading up against me. So instead of getting, 20 points, I'm going to have, 7, 8, 9 assists to go along with what I'm doing. And now it really makes it difficult to guard you. So I've been calling him Jokic, every day in practice, because when you get a chance to see him tomorrow, you'll get a chance to see he can play at all 3 levels at this point, and I am more than excited to watch him.
Yeah, I would give you another player who reminded me of what I saw last year, especially with his face-up game. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Dirk Nowitzki.
That's what I'm talking about.
When he faced up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Couldn't quite figure out what his back to the basket game was like, but his face-up game reminded me of Dirk.
He's growing, man. He's a special young man, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Another big name that you've got returning, who was a key contributor last year, was Sheikh Kabe. 6'9" forward, averaged almost 8 points a game, 6 rebounds per game last year. What can we expect from him this year?
Man, he is taking his game to a whole nother level. You know, the eight. I can't say the numbers will go up tremendously because we have so many players on the team, but you'll see it in his usage. You know, and the plays that he's making and how much he's developed over the course of the year. And he's done it on his own with us not being able to touch him. It's just his own work ethic and desire to be great. Like, he's only been playing basketball, and he'll tell you this when he does something wrong. When he does something good, it's him. When he does something wrong, I've only been playing 6 years, coach. You know what I mean? But now when he does something great, it's all on him. And
when it's bad, I only been playing 6 years. When it's good, hey, I only been playing 6 years. This what
exactly,
I understand.
Exactly. So no, I'm excited to him. I'm excited for him to take another step forward as well. Like, you're talking about two kids that I love who they are as people. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, you've been around this business a long time and you've covered a lot of coaches in the middle of the night, they got to look at their phone and be afraid of a call that they might get. I don't have any problems. And it starts with those two. Like, they are great people, not just basketball players.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, with the turnover that you have, you got a lot of newcomers on the squad. I'll just pull out a couple of names, and if there's anybody else you want to talk about, please talk about them. And if I get some of these names wrong, because look at down your roster, I've got to have the phonetic spelling for over half your roster. Unfortunately, and nothing wrong with it. It's just I've got to get a lot of practice in on saying some of these names.
Yeah.
Quincy Urbina.
Quincy Urbina.
Forward. Italo, help you out with the last name, coach.
Italo
Sikoti.
Sakati.
Uh-huh. And Corin Bradley. Corin is 6'1" guard, and Italo is a 6'6" guard. Let's start off with those three. Just kind of talk about what you expect from them.
Well, I'll start with Quincy. Quincy Urbina is one of the most explosive young men that we will have in the conference and maybe even the NAIA. He was a young man who went to San Jose State first, and then he had to go to JUCO, and then he made his way here. And when all of the lights come on, he is someone who has the potential to play at the highest level. Now, it's on him to make the decision to put the work in and put the time in to develop the way that he needs to develop. But from a physical skill point of being able to do everything, this young man, like, he can fly, literally. You see him take off and you're like, goodness gracious. Like, he's special in that way. Corin is only a freshman, and it's the same for him. Like, if he was 6'3", he wouldn't be nowhere near this university. Like, I watched him. Actually, my wife was the one who pointed him out to me, and I saw it, and I just looked at this young man. He's like a poor man's Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? Like, how hard he plays. He's willing to sacrifice his body. He's willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. So I'm extremely excited for him. And then Italo is a young man who's extremely versatile. At 6'6", he could play inside, play outside. He could defend any position 1 through 5. And he makes it extremely difficult, for you, because he's 225 pounds or so, and he's just a grown man. You know what I mean? And you can't move him. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, I'm super excited for him to be able to play.
All right. You also got a player who sat out last year who's going to be coming back, looking to make a big impact. Ebenezer Abugaye.
Yep.
And also Aubrey Washington. They both missed last season due to injury. What would their return mean for you?
Well, both of them, and I'm glad that you grouped those two together because they are the toughness of this group. You know, Aubrey Washington is a young man, you can count on him. Like you can just count on him. Anything you need, count on him. You know, he's going to be there. If you need somebody to defend any position, count on him. Ebenezer's the same way. You need him to defend somebody, he's going to go out there and he's going to make it extremely hard for that person to score. So I'm extremely excited about both of them. And, you know, a third into the season, I think you'll really get a chance to see their growth and their impact on this team, because a lot of people think that teams are impacted by people who can score. And you need guys who have that toughness, who will sit down and get a stop for you. You need a guy who will put his body in harm's way in order to take a charge for the team and just do anything for the team. And both of those are guys who will do the dirty work and won't complain about anything. You know, if you pass it to me, great. If you don't pass it to me, great. As long as we win, they only care about the end result, you know, and that's why I love both of them.
You said a third into the season. Sounds like the start of conference play, if I remember how the schedule works. But I like how you put that there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any other newcomers that we need to watch out for, Coach?
Yeah, it's actually two newcomers and then a transfer. We had Tristan Stevens. He's a transfer from Johnson and Wales, obviously right here. And because of the unfortunate, their university shutting down, unfortunately, you know, he came over and he's a young man who he brings a different type of energy. You know, he's a bit of a tweener, and I've never had that type of player. I've always wanted that tweener type of player. I wanted a guy who was a bad matchup on the perimeter as well as a bad matchup in the post. And he presents both of those things. And I'm just excited to have the opportunity to coach him because I've never had that sort of player, you know. So he brings that to our team. Terence Clayton was a young man that came from Los Angeles, you know, and he's a kid who can score, another tough young man. You know, he takes on and challenge a defending whoever. You know, if you've hit 2 or 3 baskets and on the other team, you know, he said, "Hey, let me take him, coach, and I'm gonna turn his water off." You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I need to do to make sure that he doesn't score. You know, and I think the last one is a young man named Mohammed Gilchrist from California. Lights out shooter. He's gonna be one of the best shooters in the country. You know, and he's coming back off of an injury, and his confidence is starting to come back. So I'm more than excited about what he's going to do when he gets out there as well. So we got a really good group of young men, and once we're able to put it all together, you know, you'll get a chance to see. I spoke with them at length today about becoming a team, you know, and the one thing that I'm extremely proud of about my university is that we were, you know, the only HBCU that was attempting to do something that most people shied away from, playing during the COVID. You know, no one wanted to really do it. And we were trying to do something to be the only, every other HBCU shut it down. They say, "Hey, we're not going to do it." Some are still not going to play this.
I've got a list of schools who've responded to my email saying, unfortunately, we're not having this season or this sport or that sport over the last couple of weeks of we've been trying to get the basketball information in. So I agree with you on that.
So with no one wanting to play, you know, we wanted to carry the burden. We wanted to be the guys who represented HBCUs. We wanted to be these people who did something that hadn't been done. Like, I want you to think about this. The last time an HBCU won an NAIA national championship was 1977. And it was Texas Southern University.
It was now Division I.
Which is now a Division I, exactly. And it's like, you know, what prevents us from doing these things? you know. And the one thing as African American people, you know, I think we got to continue to work on is how we interact. And it was some of the things that took place at my university. You know, it's like, hey, we got to find the best way to work together, you know, so we can all prosper. You know, and I think in certain scenarios, everyone wants to be the man. I want the praise. I want to be I was the guy who did it, or I was the guy who did that. And I told my team, I said, it doesn't say Quincy Urbina won the game. It says Florida Memorial University won the game, you know, and we got to be willing to put our selfishness on the back burner. We got to be willing to put our talents, you know, put our talents into the group and share with everybody so we can win, not I can win. And that's the biggest thing that I'm working on with this group. And I think if we're able to get this understanding of, hey, put the, you know, Magic Johnson, they said this, I didn't hear him say this, but they said that Magic Johnson, when he joined the Lakers, he stole a line from JFK, and he said, you know, it's not what the Lakers can do for me, it's what I can do for the Lakers. I think that's what we need more of. You know, it's what I can do for Florida Memorial University. You know what I mean? It's like we got to give of ourselves to make where we are better. You know, having the opportunity to be on your program, to have our university, you know, being with the spot.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Even though there's so much against us, you will see me choose to protect myself
and my community from the coronavirus by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered, you will see me making music
and bringing light to all, no matter the time.
Join me in wearing a face covering
to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because covering your face is one small act of kindness
that has the power to bring us together.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Once again, we're here with Florida Memorial men's basketball head coach Ansar Al-Ameen. Coach, a lot of Florida Memorial fans are familiar with the Sun Conference, and you know you playing with the Sun Conference, but a lot of people from around the HBCU landscape are not familiar with the Sun Conference. So can you kind of briefly tell us about Sun Conference and who are some of the other teams that basically we need to watch out for, and if you beat these teams, you're going to be in a good position to win the conference this particular year.
Definitely. I think you start with our arch rival across the street, St. Thomas. They have a new head coach over there, DP Harrison. He's done an amazing job of securing talent and bringing guys in, you know, that takes it to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? So what he's doing has been great. You know what I mean? Then you have Southeastern, who won the conference last year, and they're doing an amazing job of just coaching their guys up, you know. And Coastal Georgia, we have a lot of great teams and teams that will be recognized if we hadn't combined from NAIA Division I and Division II, we probably have got 4 or 5 teams who would be ranked, you know, in the top 25. And we have right now 2 or 3 teams that's right on the outside of being ranked. So I'm excited for the opportunity to play in the conference and to show who we are, and have an opportunity to go out and say, of all these amazing teams in this conference, who's at the end of the day, who's going to sit at the top of the hill, and we're aiming for that to be us, so the first part of the year, whatever's going on, but when the dust settles, the team that's going to be at the top of this league is going to be Florida Memorial University. And our kids, they all know that, and they're all prepared. So when we make a mistake, they're like, hey, that's just a mistake for the short term. We're going to learn from everything that goes wrong, and we're going to correct our mistakes. So down the stretch, this thing becomes a well-oiled machine, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Obviously, your ultimate goal this season is to be in Kansas City. And for those who are not familiar with NAIA basketball, the men's basketball tournament traditionally every year is held in Kansas City. It's probably, I probably want to say the last 60 years. I know it's been my entire lifetime that it's been held in Kansas City. But this year they've gone to a new format. There's no longer Division I and Division II for basketball. Everybody will be grouped in together. Just give us your thoughts on the new format for the basketball tournament this fall.
I love the fact that everyone is together, because before you would say, oh, well, they're in NAIA Division I, they're in NAIA Division II. And I was like, no, we taking is how they used to do the AFL and the NFL. Right? You know what I mean? It's like, nope, we're merging it together and we got the Super Bowl. So this is our Super Bowl. So it's no longer, well, I was the best in the AFL, I was the best in the NFL. Now we all come together. We're all on the same page. We all have the same amenities. We all have the same, not amenities. We all have the same resources with the amount of scholarships. So everybody's on the same page. So now it's just, you recruit yours, we lace them up, and we go out and play. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to play against the Georgetowns. I'm excited to have the opportunity to play against the Masters colleges. I'm excited to have the opportunity to play against these teams that are year after year at the top of NAIA Division I.
All right. One last question I want to ask you about your roster, Coach. Looking down your roster, most coaches, especially at HBCUs, 75% of your roster tends to come from whatever state you're located in, or the states that are neighboring the states that you're located in. You're the exact opposite. I only see 3 people from the state of Florida on your roster. And let me give you some of the places, because you got to Google this roster to see where some. We've got Maryland on here. We've got California on here. We've got Illinois on here. We've got the Bronx on here. We've got Ghana, Brazil, Finland. Coach, such diversity in your roster. Just talk about that diversity that you have in your roster. And I was incorrect. There are 4 people from the state of Florida on your roster.
Well, I'm happy for the diversity, but let me say this in total transparency, right? My assistants and I, we went to every local high school game we could last year, trying to get the Florida kids. And a lot of them, it was kids that we identified were kids who were the cusp of being Division I kids or Division I kids. And my biggest sale is, we have on that same roster that you're talking about, we have 5 or 6 kids that transfer from Division I. So we're trying to build a Division I caliber team here. So once we're playing in the games, we can go play the FIUs, we can go play the Bethune-Cookmans, we can go play the whoever, FAMUs. We can go play them. Yeah. And we could be able to compete because we have the same caliber players. And that's what we're working on. But as kids, I look at, I'm from California, but the quarterback of my high school, right, was Gino Torretta.
Wow.
Right. And Gino Torretta came to Miami and won a national championship as well as a Heisman. And you look at the U and you say, well, how did they do it at the U? They kept their best home. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do. I said, okay, let's see if we can keep these young men right here. And we have to do more to raise the awareness of the university to the point, because we started this broadcast, you said, you know, the often forgotten Florida Memorial University. So it's our job to bring the university out of the shadows and put it in the forefront. And if that starts with, you know, having all these young men that we have from, you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying that, you know, we want to, and we're hoping that we can bring more light to the university and bring us out of the shadows and bring us to the forefront. And then local kids will say, hey, I do want to go there. You know, they made it to the national tournament last year. You know what I mean? If I go there, I can stay home and my uncles and cousins. And, you know, I go to local high school games, and, you know, we watched, you know, I don't want to miss any schools. So we just watched some of the best high schools here, and you see the families that come to the game. You know, it's the nieces and nephews and cousins, and it's a family atmosphere. And that's what we want here. You know, you walk into it, you can feel the energy. And this is, you know, I mean, I just got here, and I'm loving the energy that they're all having here. So that's what we want to bring here. And we want people talking about our university on a national level. And it's on me, you know, and my coaching staff and the players here to do what we need to do to make people stand up and take notice. Because if not, we will stay in the shadows.
All right. And those 4 kids from the state of Florida are Murad Berrien, 5'10" guard from Tampa, Florida. Aubrey Washington.
Ali Showtime.
Oh, excuse me. Aubrey Showtime Washington.
No. It's Murad Ali Showtime Berrien.
Oh.
He is going
Showtime
to be a household name.
Mr. Berrien.
Yes.
All right. I got you. I have to remember that when I get on the broadcast.
Ali Showtime. And Corin Bradley, I call him God's work.
Like, from Gainesville, Florida.
God's work.
And
his name is God's work.
And Andrew Drugan from
Little
Hollywood, Florida. What was that?
Little Flamethrower.
All right. And we can catch all those Chris Berman nicknames that Coach Al-Ameen has given all these players. As we here at the Black College Sports Network will have a significant number of the home games for Florida Memorial University. So definitely tune in and watch these broadcasts that we have for them. Coach, we're going to get you out of here on this one. But before I get to some of my final questions, where can Florida Memorial alumni get that virtual background that you have right there?
They have to speak to Siobhan Mansfield, our athletic director. She got it for me. She actually set it up for me on my computer, and I absolutely positively love it. So
yes,
Ms. Mansfield,
one of the better virtual backgrounds I've seen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Make sure you shout her out on a broadcast. Shout her out for this amazing virtual background.
Well, we're going to let you shout out again right here on this interview. Shout out one more time for me, Coach.
Ms. Mansfield, our athletic director, she actually set it up on my computer and everything for me, that I have this virtual background and I use it for everything. So yeah. I'm extremely excited.
And she just took over as athletic director back here in the fall. That we hope that she does a tremendous job for you guys there.
She will.
Yeah. This is your opportunity to lead the fast break, Coach, like a point guard. I'm going to give the floor to you and let you make the decision and let you get off your final thoughts right here, Coach.
Okay. Well, my final thoughts have to do more with, the responsibility that we have at HBCUs. You know, when I was I had an opportunity to go to two schools. I had South Florida and I had Texas Southern. And I was trying to make a decision which one I wanted to go to. And I watched this documentary called Black Magic. And when I watched that documentary talking about HBCUs, I said, that's where I need to be. You know, HBCUs are more important than ever right now. You know, being in a place where, and I'm not saying that people don't care about you other places. I'm just saying being in a place where everyone cares about you, everyone wants to watch you succeed. You know, we need to support our HBCUs more than ever today. So, you know, Florida Memorial, and I'm hoping I can get everybody in the Florida area to come here to our university, but wherever your local HBCU is, and if you're from California like me, find one to go to, because it will change your life, the relationships that you will have, the fun that you'll have. You know, I watched School Days. It was funny. We've had Wendell Carter has come to our university and trained, you know, and he was talking about, you know, he wished that he would have pledged when he was in college. He said, yeah, but, you know, pledging at Duke and pledging at HBCU is different. And I said, yes, it is. And that's the love that we get and we give at HBCUs, and that love is needed more than ever now.
All right, Coach. Now here's the time for you to sell your HBCU. If somebody has a check, preferably a check with a comma in it,
yes,
where can they send it to? B, if they got another 7-footer for you, you know, how do they get in touch with you? And C, if they want to follow Florida Memorial Athletics or on social media or website or whatever, where can they go find out more information about Florida Memorial?
Well, all of those things on our website. You know, if you go to FMU Athletics, you'll get a chance to see everything about donating money, everything you have to do. But if you have a really big check with a comma in it, you can talk to our staff over here. We got Mr. Strider Joseph, who's in charge of big gifts when someone wants to give a huge donation. And he's been amazing in working with people and building decks and showing why you should donate to our university. You know, the work that he's done since he's been here has been amazing. You know, obviously Miss Mansfield, who's just taken over, you know, she's getting her feet and her bearings under about everything that's entailed in this job. So she's going to be out there raising money. So raising money part, if you got a check big enough, you know, go to FMU Athletics. You can just reach out to one of those people and they'll point you in the right direction of what you need to do. Second one, if you have another 7-footer, you know, I'm hoping you can call me directly. I would love to give you my phone number, but on our website, I will give you my personal phone number for the 7-footer. But on our website, you know, and you look up my email address, you can email me and send all of those things to me. And what was the third question again?
Just where to find you guys at on social media,
we
et
got
cetera.
FMU. It's FMU_MBB men's basketball. You can just go to FMU Athletics on all of the social media platforms, and you can follow each and every one of us. You'll get something different from each and every one of us, and you'll enjoy it.
All right, Coach. Coach Al-Ameen from Florida Memorial University men's basketball head coach. We thank you for your time, Coach, and we look forward to talking to you throughout the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1. Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
Tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
Our podcast you can find everywhere you listen to podcasts. Just do a search for BCSN Sports Rap. You can also find many of our shows on YouTube at MyJBN online, at BCSN Sports Rap on Facebook as well. Go download the app, Jericho Broadcast Network app. Search MyJBN or MyBCSN on Google Play Store or iTunes Store. That's where you can download the app.
Major.